minute since we talked about DTF here, and it's been about 2 years since I met Brother Ernest in Boston. Man, it's been a lot of things that changed in the DTF world, so I'm here with
that's when the American printers, dude, exploded. You remember we went to pick that printer up?
Can we get
dude, that was the beginning of it all. Now,
listen, we're going to have this talk right after the intro. Ready to go. As y'all know, Brother Ernest is on the go already. I'm trying to get it to start the video, but I want to talk to you briefly in this video about what's new in the DTF world. There's some printers out here. There's some printers that just dropped. I want to get your thoughts and opinions on that, and then we'll go into some other stuff. How you think?
Yeah, so I really can't tell you what's new. I can tell you where the industry's going, and the reason I can't tell you what's new is that I'm so consumed with our LEP 8 and 10 channel printers and staying ahead of this fluorescent curve that we're all starting to migrate into. I don't really know what's out there, but I knew if I had 65 grand just laying around that I could waste, right? I know exactly what I would get that I could print right in this area. And it's a new technology that's about to come off restriction and be entered to everybody, and it'll be available on our Epson printers and a currently $38,000 DTF printer out there that is powderless. And so we're like really racing toward that area.
So have you heard of the Cobra?
Dude, it's an epic printer, but it's a Chinese printer. However, Jim does a great job. Listen, man, they are all good printers, right? You can sell, and I'll kind of focus on the owners of print businesses. I know some businesses that get kicked a hell of a lot around more than I do. And they assume a large risk selling printers to people in this world who are crooked and evil. You know, that it puts them at a risk of every time they sell a printer, they've got to support it for a year. And the thing, I'm like, I'm not your print daddy, right? I don't have the time to teach you how to do this. You should already know how to print. And there are other companies that'll train you from how to use the internet, how to use your computer, how to make an Adobe file, and how to print.
So they seeing it as, people are seeing it as something they can get into quickly and start to
Dude, everybody can get into DTF quickly, right? You just take ink, and whoever created this term,
they don't have the knowledge base, I think.
You don't need it to start. Whoever.
Yeah, but that's what you're saying right now. Is like, I'm not going to show you how to, work your computer.
Yeah, right. The type of customer I look for all the time are ones that have blown up Epson printers. God damn, I just bought a $2,000 printer and it blew up on me, a little desktop. Yeah. And it happens to everybody.
But that's because they run in
they just keep figuring it out. Yeah, right. They're overworking it. It's not made to print, 50 photos a day. These printers can't handle that. The print head overheats, and you get one order and you're printing 50 transfers, just blasting that thing out, and people love it.
And that's where, like, my view on it is, like, I didn't want to get into DTF because I felt like I would be spending more time printing transfers. Like, it would take me back.
It's not worth it, and that's a good point to get into. I tell everybody that DTF is like living, with your ex-husband. You just can't stand him, and sometimes he works, and DTF is like, a husband living with a wife that can't cook, doesn't do nothing. They're just sitting around nagging. And so that's what DTF is like, because everybody can get a printer, put the ink into it. Doesn't take that much common sense to fill up a printer. How do I do it? What ink? Go to your frickin' rip, right? What it does take a lot of work is to keep that printer running, because everybody can fill it up and run it. It's when you lose your nozzles. It's when a part on the printer goes out. You need to be your own printer mechanic. You need to be your own basic printer technician, and nobody wants to do that.
Right.
And those are the type of people.
And that's how I feel about, like, screen print, where it's like, printing is no problem. It's the everything else you got to do to get the whole process going and reclaim and coat, all of that stuff. So that's what it in my mind when this came out. That's kind of why I stayed away from it. I know we talked a bunch about getting the printer and all this stuff. Like I could, but
it's too much work, man. I mean, so I got to thinking about it a few days ago, and you see all the people out there, and they have these 13-inch printers, and they sell their transfers for $3 a square.
That's what I was going to get into.
Dude,
next.
and you're like,
you
cannot make a living doing that because your print head will cost you $800. The technician's going to cost you $200 to $400, and then you're crying because you broke a 4900, you know, and it simply is just a matter of you replacing the print head and the motherboard. And there are computer technicians everywhere.
Yeah, see, and I got the knowledge base to replace motherboards, and if I really wanted to, I ain't really get into print heads and stuff.
Right.
But I got the base where I could figure it out. You know what I'm saying? To do that stuff.
I don't know how we got into that. Oh, right, the price of transfer.
Yeah, but it's a nightmare having I got a degree in computer science. I learned computer repair all my life growing up. I do not want to touch any of that technical stuff.
So the small printers have problems that the belts have to be tightened, you know, and the gears have to be lubed properly.
I just want to get in my car and drive. I don't want to have to change the oil.
But you have to in all vehicles. That's what people have to understand is DTF is work, man. How do you spell DTF? W-R-K. A lot of work. It's work. You're working to make that printer go. You're creating a climate environment, which may have to be like a $5,000 rehumidifier. There's so many things that make DTF to work, and then you got these people out there working for free.
Yeah. And so what about like the price of transfers? What mistakes are people who are selling transfers making in your opinion?
Well, so if you think about it, right, what do you pay somewhere like some of the world's largest companies to get your transfers done? If I were to get them done at stalls, which I have got them done at stalls years before, and I remember thinking to myself, golly, that, you know, screen print transfer was really a lot of money. And that's what made me start doing my own transfers. And so I called up David, and I'm like, hey, David Lewis, man, I need some screen transfer paper. Bam, he got it right to me, and I never looked back. The resolution and the quality is what you want to look for in a print. And that goes with screen print. It's a very soft and constant feel because the operator is pulling the squeegee back at a constant rate. There's nothing working against him. Their climate, he can figure that out. When you get into the smaller printers, and the smaller printers are always better than the Chinese printers, and that's because they print at a higher resolution. So let's say I were to get something like 12 by 18, and although this is not a transfer, I can already feel the difference because I know Supacolor. I know they're filled best transfers in the screen print market.
Can't say that because they're gonna think I told you to say.
Nobody tells me to say shit. I'll talk about your mama. I ain't even afraid, you know. It is what it is. So their transfers are a hybrid process, right? And we've lost that technology.
They say that the hybrid process doesn't exist.
Who says that?
Some people on the internet. It's no such thing.
Well, yeah, I do it. You have to have a nice printer.
So it does exist?
Yeah, I've used it, right? I don't want a DTF, right? No matter if I had a Chinese printer or mine. Mine are Epsons. We can drop down to 720 by 720, and we're printing quick. We can already do 20 transfers at 12 by 12 at 2880 by 1440 resolution per hour, right? And the quality is stunning. You know,
how many per hour?
You can do 20 full resolutions per hour.
20 transfers per hour.
Right.
That's a lot of time. I mean, that's fast in the world of DTF because I hear about 4 prints an hour.
Well, so there's some printers that can print 1,800 feet per day because they can print 326 feet of film. They don't use all the film. We round down to like 285, 300. You can print that in 5 hours.
Right. Gotcha.
Right, and so your profit on that by the time you're done is like $1,800. How many times do you want to make $1,800?
Well,
so
your profit on that is about $1,800, but at what price point are you selling them at?
Well, so yeah, that's a good point. I already priced it out. It's $300 to $350 per 326 feet.
Okay,
right.
So you said you're doing how much for 12 by 12?
Well, so that would be like a $3.50.
And that's what people are charging for.
Yeah, so that's the problem, though. That the solution is you charge that rate if you have an Asian printer, right? That can print fast. And that's the key. You can print at a low resolution, 720 by 720. Maybe you can scratch above that. I don't think you can because of the print heads. But you're able to print, you're covering, in 5 hours, you're covering a roll of film, right? So with ours, you're printing at 2880 by...
but this is also assuming that you're running it non-stop too, right?
Well, yeah, you need a technical operator. The Chinese printers are for the shops that want to put out a bunch of transfers, and they have a technician that can run the printers, and it should not be the owner. I mean, the owner can't be doing everything, man. The owner's, it's just not made for it.
I'm like in total agreement. It's just like now I think like people are so, and it's funny because they don't want to be told, like they don't want a customer to come into them and say, you know, I want cheap prices, right?
Yeah, right.
But they want all of the cheapest products.
This is not cheap. If I were to get super color, it's not cheap, right? So what's on my chest right here is not cheap. It's not DTF, it's not super color, but it's a process that, you know, people are like, damn, dude, that's really bright. I need that. Super colors transfers are a good quality.
We ain't even here to talk about super color.
I know, but I'm
They
getting
hear enough about super
I'm getting
color.
to the point of this is that, you know, if you have something like this, Stan calls me like a day ago and or 2 days ago, says, hey man, I need some transfers. And I'm delivering a printer down to Virginia Beach. And so right before we left, we had these printed, and you know, I printed them at the shop. And now I don't print because I don't want to be printing all day. I mean, people don't understand it, right? There are people that want to print all day. And so, you know, the difference is that, you know, we're really talking transfers that are printed at 2880 by 1440 resolution. Obviously, that's not as fast like the Chinese printers, right? So if I had an order that I got hit with that was 2,000 different orders, right, I'd farm them out to the Chinese printers. Yeah, because I just want to get them back. Doesn't matter.
So that transfer was sent to me by a guy, or that design was sent to me by a guy, and I couldn't believe the transfers that the company sent him.
Yeah, well, they don't know on their end. They've got an Asian printer, and listen, man, I don't hide. You don't bring me on, and so if these things were purchased by a company, I'm gonna call.
Yeah, we going.
I'm gonna call and definitely get a reprint of these because the original ones are printed with the 720 by 720 resolution, and you're throwing down a lot of ink.
Man, listen,
and so
I was so surprised when I saw this.
The Chinese printers struggle when the text is very small, right? Whereas, you know, any of these desktop Epsons that are out there are going to be able to print that because the print heads are up to 2880 by 1440 resolution, especially if they learn how to trigger their rip.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. I got into all that to tell you that the better quality of the print, the more you should be charging. The Asian printer markets came out and they destroyed the market for transfer companies. And now that DTF is out there, these transfer companies are now trying to jump into the DTF game by buying their own Chinese printers and shipping them over, and they hire a technician. They're already 70 grand down, right? Without a doubt. And then the Cricut Mama, they can just go pick up an Epson, or I've had Cricut Mamas buy them for me, dude. And these Cricut Mamas are, you know, $40,000, $50,000 a month in transfers that they're buying from F&M Transfers. Or, you know, one of the other transfer companies. And I'm telling you, man,
it's a ton of business models out here that people are sleeping on.
Yeah, and so they'll charge like $225 a transfer for screen print, and yet you got the Epson person out there, Cricut Mama with an Epson, and they're charging $350 a square foot. And when I look at that and I say $350 a square foot, man, I want you to calculate that out and tell me how you paid for your printer. We're in a shortage of printers right now, right? You can't get American printers. The Epsons are drying up all over the country, and you can continually ship in the big Asian printers, where is if I had a printer, I'd want one that would sit perfectly right here and print and not be loud at all. So the problem is that, one, the operator's not charging enough, right? You have these small 180 nozzle printers with 6 channels or 8 channels, like a 3880, you cannot print 25 to 30 transfers because you're printing, you're powdering, and you've got a small desktop printer, right? And it's printing very slow.
Yeah, no question.
But
And
the
I feel
resolution can jump up and it's very bright.
I feel like getting into the space, you got to pick which side you want to be on. Do you want to be printing transfers and selling transfers, or do you want to be making shirts?
Right,
if you
right.
want to be on the side of making shirts, I just feel like, you know, me personally, I'm riding with, you know, Supercolor. I like the quality. I don't have to think about it. I've tried all of these companies in the past, and this one here, I can
It's
always
getting
consistently rely on.
extremely competitive.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Right.
It definitely
and
is.
it'll be that way until the small Epson printers can no longer be found. Right? When in the industry.
I mean, it's going, someday people gonna find a way to print them if they want to print them.
Well, they're going to run out of printers because the ones that are charging $350 are not covering their costs to repair them.
So do you not think that, I don't know we run out of printers, but you don't think Epson is going to get into the game?
I absolutely do. Right now, the Epson F3070 is a $45,000 printer that they just released. It's a DTG printer. It prints 100 shirts per hour. Right? It's big. It's a monster. So they sunk a lot of money into that Epson F3070, and all they have to do is go back and get one of their 24-inch models, and well, they still can't do that because there's a shortage on the current models that they have in. This is a problem. So can they get these printers?
Are they going to get into the market of DTF printers that are, you know, less, that cost less? Are they going to do what they did with the sublimation printers and come out with a 570 and a 170?
Well, I hope so. The printers would work. Why would you need to buy an Epson, or sorry, why would you need to buy a Chinese printer when Epson's got a 24-inch DTF?
Right.
Right, that's what I think. And there are sublimations that are much faster in printers than F570 and F6370, but the printhead technology is what is amazing.
Yeah. So
I hope they do, because that means if they do,
then you're out of business.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I never got into this business to get rich or make money.
I know, you just fucking love to print, huh?
Yeah, dude, I love to print. So I'm not, you know, people are asking.
So then what are you going to do when Epson is flooding the market with these new printers? These, let's call them six.
Well, I'll go back to doing what I did before, and that's grow cannabis.
All right, we either way left.
Well, no, that's what I did before I printed.
Okay.
I mean, but you look at printing and growing cannabis, both take a lot of time. One makes a little bit more sense because.
So some people say, Brother Ernest wants you to buy transfers, but he sells DTF printers. Like they say like you don't know which side you're on.
Well, that's incorrect, and this is why. My first type of customers to the shop that already has their customer base.
Mm-hmm.
I'm outputting 50 shirts a week to DTG, to the guy I'm outsourcing. Right, that's a lot of shops across the country, and I'm looking for.
I walked into 2 in Texas. It was pretty dope to see. They were running like crazy Etsy sites. They had like freaking 12 employees, and they was just.
Man, my friend
all
Tony,
custom design.
My friend Tony Helms, he has these big, huge laser engraver printers, man.
I know Tony.
Yeah, dude, he can print on freaking so many things.
Me and Tony got into it.
Really? Yeah, I've gotten into it with Tony too. So I've gotten into it with everybody.
Hey Tony, I like you, buddy.
Dude, he's a great printer. He's probably one of the best printers I've ever.
Why you had to come fuck on me?
What?
Why you had to come pick on me?
I don't know, man. Remember the days of glory. That's. I don't know. I don't know the whole story.
It's all right.
But Tony's an awesome guy. I don't know anybody that prints. He loves printing so much. He built this big ass shop behind his house. He's like, dude, I just want to print at home. And I look and I say,
we should go visit him.
Dude, he'd love it, man. The ability to print right behind your house, dude, and he brings his child out, and they're in the playpen. All
right, 1 second, because listen, guys, this has been DTF Talk. I'm going to end this video. We're just going to go live because it's obvious that I'm not going to get one constructive video out of my man, Brother Ernest.
Nah, dude, I don't work like that, dude. I told you, I'm like a bumblebee, dude. I'm like a bumblebee.
Our first set of videos, I had you on point when we was driving in the car. Yeah, remember? And we sat at your crib and I was asking you questions and you was answering them. We was good. We rolled right through each video. But it's all good. We just gonna go live.
Yeah.
Me and boy Stand Back here with Brother Ernest.
Were we live the whole
Peace.
time?
No.